joining us from Jerusalem. Irris, why did the ceasefire not get extended this Friday?
Yes, that we have heard from both sides blaming the other, but I think when in the past 8 hours, we've been able to see that it's actually a dispute about the release of hostages. Israel said that it initially went into this in order to release its women and children at the rate of something like 10 a day. That was the deal. And while they were released, there would be a ceasefire. That was extended for 2 days, 3 days more. In fact, today was meant to be the 8th day, and that didn't happen. And it says it's because Hamas wasn't putting forward lists, was putting them forward late, and then they didn't contain women and children. The women and children Israel believes are still alive in the Gaza Strip. What Hamas has said, particularly I've just been reading to the Wall Street Journal, is that they can't locate all the women and children. But in any event, we don't know the reason that it's not agreeing with Israel on the lists. You know, this is the deal as it was determined. The possibility of extending it was discussed by both Egypt, Qatar, and the US, actually. But Israel says it can only be extended if the first terms are met. It's not clear why exactly Hamas isn't prepared to release the women and children it holds, whether it really is because they can't find them, whether it's a tactical decision. They want to hold some back to use in a later negotiation. But I think both sides have now said that there is a dispute, and Hamas is saying they offered alternatives to the women and children, and that Israel also wanted women who are at what they call fighting age, women who could be in the army or were in the army, and they weren't prepared to release them. So this is where we are now. Perhaps there'll be a negotiation under fire. That's what we're hearing from Egypt and from Qatar, but that's where we are right now.
Irris, now that the ground operation has resumed, what are its goals? Is this just picking up where Israel left off?
At the moment, it is picking up where Israel left off. They have said all along what they wanted was, I guess I'm putting it in words that we know from another war, regime change. They want to remove Hamas from running the Gaza Strip, and they want to remove its infrastructure, particularly its military infrastructure and the tunnels that it runs. I think we saw it was the third hostage release, we saw that they were released from the north of the Gaza Strip, which is where Israel had based itself, removing most of the civilians in those scenes, those unforgettable scenes of people walking to the south. And nevertheless, Hamas managed to hold in Gaza City at a square there, Palestine Square, aptly named. They managed to hold a meeting, a ceremony, and to release hostages from the north of the Gaza Strip. So I think that was a wake-up call for Israel that however far it thought it may have got in terms of its military goals, it actually hasn't achieved them. And it also sees Khan Yunis in the south or centre-south of the Gaza Strip as a particular stronghold of Hamas, and Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas leader, who's behind the October the 7th attacks inside Israel.
Irris Makler joining us live there from Jerusalem. Thank you so much for those latest updates.